Welcome to Double Fries No Slaw. It is Thursday evening, September 14th, and we are back with a preview episode for the Louisville game. Richie, how you doing?
Good, man. I don't know how to feel about Friday night games, but I'm actually pretty excited about this one. Get home from work. There's no long waiting period. Just get right into the action. And once again, the only show in town, just like LSU. Very excited. Another great opportunity for Florida State.
I'm excited to get home from work on Friday as well and tune into the game. No, I'm just kidding. My work that day will be touring distilleries and hopefully being able to walk into the stadium straight. Hey, I am live here at Bay Canyon again for our second preview show live here on site. Richie's drinking his Bay Canyon. I see his Elias there. Look at his double IPA, man, on a Wednesday night, bro. Just like crush it. If I know Richie, he'll have more than one too. So it's more like a quadruple IPA.
The wife is on text alert. We're ready to go here.
Yeah, Lindsay, we need another one. We are at Bay Canyon Beer Co. here in Tampa live. If you come down on any preview night, you get a BOGO beer if you wear your team's gear. If you're not an FSU fan, or if you're watching this, you probably are. But if you're not an FSU fan and you want to wear your Rays stuff, great. Get you a BOGO beer. I am joined by Matt, the co-founder of Bay Canyon, and we're going to talk with Matt for just a minute about what's going on at the brewery, a little bit about the game. We won't keep you super long, but thanks for hanging out, man.
Yeah, man. Happy to be here. Thanks for coming. We'll have a lot of fun here turning this into a Wednesday night party, hopefully.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for these as they continue to grow, as they continue to happen. This is our first one on Wednesday night. We did one on Thursday before the LSU game. This is the first one on Wednesday. So I think they'll continue to grow. We've got some good relationships with both the boosters and the Tampa Noles Club. I think we're going to get more and more people out here. So, but a few people out here tonight, a little bit of a crowd.
We'll start throwing some specials out, or some, have a reason for people to show up and kind of link it all in together and try to have some fun with it. But yeah, man, it's good.
It's really cool. No, it's fun to come out. It's fun to be out. It's fun to have a beer while you're doing a podcast. So always a good time. What's going on at the brewery the next couple of weeks or so, and what can people look forward to?
Yeah, not so much next couple weeks, but we're a month out now from our first West Tampa market of the season. We do markets right across the street here once a month in the cold months, I guess we call them, but not really.
The winter
months. Yeah, that starts October 16th. That's great. We just had a pretty big management change here at the brewery, so we're gonna take things back over and start cranking up some good events again. There is live jazz by the local Blake High School jazz band every Saturday night, which is pretty awesome. There's live music on Sunday, and we're going to start, obviously, podcast showing up and doing live shows, and we used to do a lot of fun events, so we'll get back to doing that and just kind of keep everybody updated when next time you're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you don't publicize this a lot, you don't put this out, but I will ask you, you're familiar with FSU football, walked on there, played a little. What are your thoughts just right now with where the team is, heading into this big game, massive opportunity like Richie talks about? What are your thoughts about this weekend and the team in general?
Yeah, man, I do remember those playing days, but I remember more my coaching days because they were so much worse. It was such a grind to have your butt chewed by a head coach all day for 2 years. And I think about these games, kind of how I would feeling in those staff meetings. Friday night, obviously weird. It's high school football night. It's still having a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
So which means that they had to move their week back, their prep back. But with the bye week, I think that they're rested, at least as rested as they can be at this point. Based on what I've seen, which is just a 2-game sample by both teams, we're a better football team than they are.
Yep.
That doesn't mean that we can't go lay an egg because we're all Florida State fans here. We've all been here for last 5 years, so we know. But I'm excited to see them take this step, right? The LSU win was a big win. We've had a couple of those in the last couple of years at UNC that we shouldn't have won, knocked off Miami. But this is one of those games that you should win that maybe in the past couple of years we haven't won. And like you said earlier, it's a national televised game. We'll be the only show in town. I'm cautiously optimistic, as I've been saying all week. I am extremely happy with what the betting line has done.
Yeah.
We were opened at 1-point favorites. We're at 3 now, so that means a lot of people got on early with some smart money, hopefully.
Yeah.
So that made me feel a little bit better than seeing that -1. So yeah, I'm excited to see us kind of take that next step. 3-0 would be huge for us heading back home.
Yeah, Matt, just wanted to ask you real quick. Obviously, you were a big part of our Notre Dame tailgate last year up in Tallahassee. Introduced me to your beer, the Frankie one. I had no idea it was seasonal. I was at Total Wine. I'm like, where can I get this Frankie? I see the Xander. I see the Elias. All great beers. But I told you, man, I need that Frankie back in production. That's coming back, right?
There is a rumor that Frankie is going to find its way back on tap.
Nice.
Yeah, we're changing things up a little bit at the brewery on how we're going to go about managing what beers do go on tap, so that some of those can stay a little longer as well. And if they end up becoming something that people really like, then we can use that out in the larger market as well. So, yep, Frankie will find its way back here pretty soon.
But
it was a good beer.
Only on tap, because then I can charge Rich like anything for the crowlers. Like the secondary on that is going to be nuts.
Well, I'm excited to figure out how the delivery portion that we're going to implement goes, and some local shipping that we, obviously can put together too. Obviously, we have our beer available for shipping, and our hemp seltzer, non-alcoholic hemp seltzers on Bavana.com.
Yeah.
Only Xander's the only one that's available there now, but that should change too. But yeah, we'll get some Frankie back here for you, Richie. I know you say your dog is named Frankie.
Oh yeah, a little wiener dog named Franklin. So it's just a match made in heaven. When my wife saw the Frankie beer at the Notre Dame tailgate, she's like, "Yep, this is all I'm drinking the rest of the day."
Yeah, Joe knocked it out of the park with that one. We'll get it back, and we'll make sure that you have that in front of you for a show, hopefully down the road.
Awesome, man. Really appreciate the partnership and looking forward to doing this all season long.
Yeah, likewise, man.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Matt. Thank you again for letting us come by.
You got it. Happy to be here. Go Noles.
Go Noles.
Cheers.
Excited. I threw a link in the comments, guys. If you go to the link there, that is through Bavana. You guys can order some of this fantastic Bay Cannon beer that Richie and I are both drinking right now. Would suggest it. It's really good stuff. I wouldn't be here. I leave my house enough, so I wouldn't be here every Wednesday night if it wasn't good. And I really appreciate Matt and his partnership for sure. Okay, let's jump into it, Richie. We've got about 20 minutes before our guest comes on, Mark Ennis. Oh, remember last year I said Ennis, and he gave me a hard time for that. Mark Ennis.
Is this his third year, second year in a row coming on?
I think it's third year. He's been on every year.
Every year.
So we're
awesome.
0-2. If we lose this one, I'm never having.
Yeah, we're done. We're done with the guy, right?
I'm done with him for sure. I'll move over a little bit so you guys can see some of these beers and stuff behind me. I love their setup. Look at this, man. Again, hit the link in the comments. You can go shop all of Bay Cannon's beer right now on Bavana. Stuff's great. So let's jump into it, Richie. Florida State at Louisville, Friday night, 7:30 on ESPN. If you guys are watching, if you're listening, hit the share button. If you're not subscribed, smash the subscribe button. Whew, that's a tongue twister.
I think you're smashed.
Halfway through the beer. Series history, FSU is 16-6 overall, but 4-4 since Louisville joined the ACC. Scott Satterfield is one game under 500, so trying to get to 500. As Matt mentioned, the game opened up. Some books with Louisville as a favorite, some with FSU as a favorite, some as a pick 'em. Currently 2.5 is the consensus. 2.5 3-point favorite for Florida State, over under 57. Richie, what are your thoughts on Louisville through 2 weeks? Pretty poor showing against Syracuse. I didn't think they were great against UCF, but I do think Malik Cunningham made just enough dynamic plays to get them over the hump there. Thoughts on UCF in general?
Yeah,
Louisville.
Yeah, I think it's really tough to tell, TJ, because, we all entered this season thinking Syracuse was going to be an easy win. After 2 weeks, I'm not so sure about that anymore, so they might be better than we thought. Is Louisville that bad? I don't know. Opening your season in ACC play on the road is tough. Still a dismal showing, right? 31-7. You can't have that. And the first half against UCF, it looked like they were going to drop to 0-2. Second half, Louisville kind of changed their offense to what it has been. They spreaded them out a little more, let Malik run the ball. They got away from these jumbo sets with tight ends and extra blockers that they were trying to run against Syracuse and the first half against UCF. I don't know what to think about Louisville. I think it being their home opener, conference opener, after a hard-fought win in Orlando, people joke, but the bounce house is a tough environment to play, relatively speaking. But yeah, I don't know what to make of Louisville right now. I really don't. I think we will get their best game of the year, but I've not been impressed at all with them, especially in the trenches, which we'll talk about a little later.
Yeah, that was going to be my biggest takeaway is when you watch that BC game, I didn't think that BC. When you watch that UCF game, I didn't think their trenches were super impressive. I thought UCF was pushing them back pretty hard. And I don't know. To me, it's hard to imagine a scenario where Florida State's not able to dominate the trenches. I mean, shoot, we saw them dominate the trenches against an SEC opponent, right? And so to think that we wouldn't do the same against a Louisville team that, got their pushed in by Syracuse, and then also I thought UCF was better along the offensive defensive lines. It would be pretty shocking for them to not be able to dominate there. The X factor is Malik Cunningham. You listed some stats out here. He's got 8,500 passing yards total, 62 touchdowns, 38 on the ground. Been really, really good. Almost 3,000 yards career rushing, completing at a clip of almost 60%. He's the difference for Louisville, right? And so what are your thoughts on Malik Cunningham? Do you feel like Florida State can slow him down? Where are you when it comes to him?
So it's interesting, right? Because at the ACC Media Days, Scott Satterfield made a point to say, we're going to showcase his ability as a quarterback, right? They wanted him to have more of that traditional quarterback role, which didn't make a lot of sense because he is an elite college quarterback, or at very least borderline elite. So to take away his legs, a little bit early on didn't make a lot of sense to me. He's not a great passer. He doesn't have the weapons he has had recently. There's no Tutu Atwell. He lost his best receiver to Alabama in the transfer portal, which if you're Louisville, you're going to get used to that, losing your best players every year. I still think he's a very good quarterback. Scott Satterfield, he's kind of on the hot seat, and I think he realized in the second half against UCF what works, and that's letting Malik be Malik, right? Call a pass play, but let him take it down and run. He's going to be a problem. I know they have not looked good offensively. 27 points in 2 games. That is horrific. Granted, they've played 2 decent opponents, but I'm not going to lie, TJ. He terrifies me. And I know you talked about it on your spaces on Monday or Tuesday, I believe. It's going to be up to Adam Fuller to neutralize him, right? This is Adam Fuller's game. You mentioned it on your spaces. I agree entirely. Because Malik Cunningham, if you can find a way to neutralize him a little bit, he's going to get his 50, 60, 70 yards on the ground, right? He's going to. But if you can somehow slow him down and take away his other weapons, and we're going to talk about it, he doesn't have many, you should win this game. It's going to be up to the defense. Pick the magic number you want, but if Louisville scores 30-plus, that's a terrible job by Adam Fuller in this defense, in my opinion. I don't think they will. I'll say that. But you got to remember, they scored 31 points in the first half each of the last 2 years. Again, a lot of those weapons are now gone. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Cunningham still scares the crap out of me, man. He's an electric athlete.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Super sticker. What is that thing there, Harlan? Tell me what that is. Let's bring Harlan in.
Chance and plant the spear. Noles win. Noles win. Fire up the war chant and plant the spear.
I love it. That's a good, the super sticker. Thanks, Drip. I don't know what that is, but thank you for the super sticker. Y'all, I'm loving Cole Hain. Cole Hain's really good. Oh, yeah. We've got some exciting stuff for people that hit the whatever you call it, the
I didn't know we had a
super chat.
Now. Here we
got soundboard, bro. We're upgrading. We're doing live shows. I actually got a real mic for the first time in my life. It's a whole new TJ here. It's a whole new double Fresno saw. You're right. I mean, it comes down to Fuller. It comes down to their ability to limit him. My guy Max, that does the Seminole executive brief, mentioned that if they can just make him one-dimensional, right? Like if they can take away his legs or take away his arm, either one. Like if they can make him one-dimensional, they should win the game. Like we should find out on Friday night that this team was better and that they prevailed. If they can't, if he can beat you both in the air and on the ground, that's going to be trouble for FSU because he's the kind of athlete that can keep you in a game. Fuller struggled against him the last couple of years. You wrote this down in the notes, but at the end of the day, you just can't let one guy beat you. I mentioned this on the Spaces too, and I think it's kind of like in March Madness when we play Ja Morant, right, or somebody like that. You can either let him go off and stop everyone else, or stop everyone else, or stop him and let everybody else go. Like either way, it doesn't matter. But you've got to be able to slow down both either his legs or his arm. Otherwise, you're in a lot of trouble because he's really freaking good. Jordan Travis has not played especially well against Louisville. Looking to redeem himself a little bit after that 2020 performance. He was injured through a lot of last year's game. What are your thoughts on Jordan and how he ends up playing this weekend?
First of all, I hope he one-ups himself on that when he decided to turn into Allen Iverson and just do a crossover to himself right into the end zone on that fumbled snap. But other than that, not a great game, right? Florida State goes down, scores on the opening drive on a miraculous play by Jordan Travis, where, again, there's ball's fumbled. He just dribbles it to himself and goes into the end zone. Not much else happened on Florida State's favor that day, 48-16. Clearly not the result we're hoping for. But, man, I don't follow all 130 teams. I don't pretend to. But you're going to have a hard time showing me a quarterback that's progressed more than Jordan Travis has from that night in Louisville or that afternoon in 2020 to where he was against LSU 2 weeks ago, right? He has developed a lot. He understands this offense. And, man, his weapons have been upgraded massively. I think Jordan Travis is going to play really well. I was actually trading messages with his brother Devin earlier this week. And I was asking him, hey, what's his thoughts about going to Louisville?
Flex on him,
is this
Richie.
personal? Yeah, well, I mean, I ran into the guy at the hotel in New Orleans. So I'm like, let me reach out to him again. But no, and I said, is this personal for him to go back to Louisville? He said, no, he just wants to win. That was his exact comment. He just wants to win, is what his brother told me. And I believe it. And I think Jordan has a command of this offense. I think he's expert level in this offense at this point, and his skill set is catching up. So, he talked about he's been in the film room till 10, 11 o'clock at night with his dog, which I think is hilarious and awesome. As a dog owner, I can relate to that as well. Just studying film, and it's showing, right? That LSU game, some of his best passes weren't even caught, right? The one to Cam McDonald down the seam in an extremely tight window. If Jordan Travis is poised and plays his game, I feel really good about the offense's chance to do their job, right? And we talked about if the offense does their job, the defense doesn't have to play an outstanding game. The defense can play their C game because I don't think Louisville's offense is that good. But I have a lot of confidence in Jordan Travis, and that's mainly because of the confidence he has in himself and the confidence that Mike Norvell and Alex Atkins has in Jordan Travis as well.
I also look at our defense and think that there's a lot that our defense can do, going back to that side of the ball, better than UCF did. And at the end of the day, they held Louisville to 20 points, right? So they weren't terrible by any means. They really let Malik get off for one long run. I think it was a 44-yard run that ended up being the difference in the game. But I think our defense is going to play it better. I like our defensive line more than I like UCF's defensive line. I like the athletes like Briggs and Verse and Bethune and Deloach and Jamie and Dent and Cooper. Like, I love the way that our defense matches up here. And I truly believe that we'll hold them under 24 points, right? Like, I think I could see them getting a couple of touchdowns, a few field goals, and making it like 21, 23, somewhere in there. And that's where I think that if we can play collectively, if we can play as a unit, both in offense and defense and special teams, and we can just do what we need to do. Like, to me, it's not about doing anything. Like, man, what is the path to victory for Florida State? And in this game, I very much think that it's just taking care of the fundamentals, doing what you need to do. I think Florida State's better than Louisville. We'll see if Mark agrees with this. I think Florida State's better than Louisville at every single position on the field. The one that you might be able to argue is you might say Malik's better than Jordan. I don't believe so. Like, I would take Jordan over Malik. If you wanted to have the argument that you think Malik's, like, that's fine. Like, I'll give you that one. I think Florida State's better everywhere else. Better running backs, better offensive line, better wide receivers, better defensive line, better linebackers, better secondary. I don't know much about Louisville's kicker, but yeah, so maybe they have that one too. But I like where we're at as a team. And to me, it's the path to victory is just taking care of the things you need to take care of, and you'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah, so I'll say the one spot that I think Louisville really likes is their cornerbacks. We'll talk a little bit about Jarvis Brownlee. He's listed as a backup this week, but I don't have the confidence in our cornerbacks that I had coming into the season. A lot of that's Marin Cooper, right? He's not been healthy. He had a phenomenal end of the season, phenomenal spring, right? A little underwhelming against LSU. Granted, that's the best receivers he's going to face all year, but the receivers worry me a little bit, man. As much as I'm worried about our kicker, Louisville's kicker ain't much better. He's like 70% on the year. Again, it's early, but I have no confidence in either kicking game heading into this game. So hopefully it doesn't come down to field goals, because it might be one of those where they just trade like a bunch of missed field goals and then something freaky happens. But yeah, I agree, man. You can argue Malik and Jordan. I'm taking Jordan, by the way. But our safeties far and away, but the cornerbacks, I need to see more. I like Ronaldo Green, what he's had. I need Amari Cooper to be healthy and playing like he was last year to feel very confident about that. But to me, this game comes down to our cornerbacks, right? Because if you can just man up on the outside and you can have Deloach and Bethune help spy Cunningham and limit his running game, this game's a walk in the park. Easier said than done. But that's the main match I'm looking at is, and they don't have the dynamic guys outside, but I'm looking at Louisville's receivers versus our cornerbacks in man situations. That to me will decide this game to a certain extent.
Touchdown, Florida State! Touchdown!
Look at that! Look at that! Another one. Play that again, Harlan.
Harlan's got all kinds of
Touchdown,
soundboards
Florida
here.
State! Touchdown! FSU!
Shout out my guy Eddie. Eddie's helping us a little bit on bourbon on a budget. What is your tailgate drink this weekend? Okay, so Richie, do you know, will you, okay, so I know you're a beer guy, but will you do a little harder stuff because we're in Louisville, in honor of me being plastered on Friday at about 5 p.m.? What's going on there?
So I'm going to be at Harry Buffalo, downtown Orlando. If you're in Central Florida, please go out there. It's the official Seminole Club of Greater Orlando. A good portion of the proceeds all go directly back to the Seminole Boosters and the Alumni Association. So since I'm going downtown, I have a rule. I no longer drink liquor when I'm outside of my house, typically, unless I'm on an airplane heading to New Orleans. That was a bad idea too. But I'll be drinking beer, probably IPAs, but we're probably going to leave at halftime to come home. Just because I'm an old man and I want to watch the second half at home in my own peace and quiet. And I might break open some, maybe some Woodford, a little Louisville flavor. I told you I'm planning a bachelor party heading up to Louisville in a few weeks, and I'm going to get some advice from you. But yeah, just probably some bourbon, maybe some Woodford on the way home. I'm sure you've got some way better plans than I do.
So I was going to, but you won't drink any. I was going to Venmo you right now and buy you a bourbon drink, but you won't drink it if you go out. You won't drink bourbon if I Venmo you right now.
I'll tell you, I'll be with my buddy Mark, who's at the tailgate, who gets a little rowdy, and we'll both have a bourbon on the rocks before kickoff if you want to do that.
Here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna send it over right now. Richie Barnes. All right, cool. So I'm buying Richie a drink. Yeah, next person to super chat, I'll buy you a drink too. Just let me know what your Venmo is. After Ed doesn't count. We'll get Ed's up in a minute. To answer Eddie, yeah, I'm doing a tour of a couple of places on Friday morning. We're going to Michter's. We're going to Peerless on Thursday. We're going to Heaven Hill. We're going to a couple of things on Friday as well. Coming back, hopefully be able to stand up. I'm going to be hanging out with my guy Max, the Seminole Executive Brief, for the tailgate beforehand. So the answer for me is just yes. I'm like everything this weekend, bro. I mean, it's all bourbon. I'm going to try and avoid beer unless I'm eating dinner. I don't like bourbon with my dinner, but it'll be beer for me. All right, Harlan, hit the next one.
Fire up the war chant and plant the spear. Noles win. Noles win.
Man, I can listen to Jeff Coolhane all
Dude,
day.
Play it one more time, Harlan. That one's fantastic.
Fire up the war chant and plant the spear. Noles win. Noles win.
Yeah, thank you, Ed, for the super chat. I think we open up running the ball all over them. If we stack the box, then JT torches them with the pass, which will open back up the run. Ed, you are spot on. The other day, somebody came in the spaces, and bro, this is what they said. They said, "What if they stack the box against us?" And I said, "I hope teams stack the box against us this year. I hope Clemson might be a different story. Everyone else, I hope they stack the box against us because I believe in Jordan Travis, and I think he has taken that step. And I could not agree. Ed, you are so spot on. Yes, please stack the box against us because the weapons that we finally have, pokey, catching the ball one-handed, span, speed. Man, Johnny Wilson be able to go up
His
and high
size,
the
my
ball.
goodness, yeah.
Buddy, yeah, like those running backs out of
Yeah,
the
stack the
backfield.
box. I'd like it. I like that.
Yeah,
Do
bring
it.
on the stack box. Ed, you
Do
got me
it.
more excited than this beer does. So, Richie, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, man, I think he's spot on. I think we can run the ball down their throats, right? And we saw the second half, and we'll talk to Mark Ennis about this here shortly, but they did basically nothing but run blitzes on every single play because they got gashed by UCF. Well, guess what? Mike Norvell, for the flaws he may have, he is a phenomenal play caller, and he sets up the run to throw the ball. If you're going to run blitz him and give him easy, reads on other plays, I love what that means for Florida State. Again, you have to establish the run a little bit to force those run blitzes, but if you get man on man, I like our receivers over their secondary all day. And I know Louisville really does like probably up to 8 guys in their secondary between, the corners and safeties, but none of them are elite to the point where they're just going to shut down half the field, right? So I'm pumped for that. I do think this offense is tailor-made to take on this defense. Can you handle the success against Louisville? Can you handle what will be? It's going to be a raucous environment at Louisville. It's their first home game, home opener, ACC opener. It's going to be a really rowdy crowd, liquored up on bourbon, and I love it. But yeah, the way I'm looking at this is like North Carolina last year, right? When we went up to Chapel Hill. If you can jump on them early and take the crowd out of it, game's over. Yeah. If you let them get out to a hot start, you're in for a dogfight all night long. But I agree. Establish the run to open the pass, and Jordan Travis is going to surprise a lot of teams, at least early in the season, with his passing ability, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just don't have a ton of confidence in Louisville's defense. Honestly, when they were playing UCF, I thought if Plumlee could have just hit guys that were wide open, that UCF would have absolutely, kind of mauled them. Yeah. I thought UCF was doing some good things offensively, and like Plumlee was just so erratic with the ball that they just couldn't get anything done. Again, appreciate the super chats, Ed,
absolutely,
Dripspec, Eddie. Again, when Mark comes on, if you guys have any specific questions for Louisville, we're not going to pass those funds along to him, but we will ask him your questions. So Mark's won bottles of bourbon off of me the last 2 years. When I invited him back on the show, which he should be here in just a minute, when I invited him back on the show this week, I said, hey, Mark, would you like to win another bottle of bourbon and come on Double Fres No Slaw this week? And he said, sure, I'll be there. What time? So coming on this show has been good for him. So it's been a plus. Yeah, one more point, then I think we'll probably have Mark on. We'll probably be able to get Mark on. We're talking about Jordan open up the game with being able to pass. I'm excited to see what the running backs do. The running backs obviously look great against Duquesne. You factor in opponent there, but I'm excited to see what the running backs look like. Didn't have as great of a game against LSU, and I don't think that's super shocking with LSU's stout defensive line. But what do they look like coming up here? Let's see here. We got one more Harlan, and then we'll get Mark on. Harlan die or something?
Touchdown, Florida State! Touchdown, FSU!
Shout out to TJ for helping an all out. Sad I can't find my dang wallet. Won't be able to drink unless I find my ID, bro. Shoot me a message, and we'll get you taken care of. We the people. I have no idea who this is, so you just got the honor system here. If you send me a message and you say that you were We the People, I'll hook you up. I'll probably get 18 DMs that are asking for a free drink there, but I'll hook you up. We'll get you taken care of. All right, we have our guest. I want to give a quick shout out, and then we will get after it. We are joined on the Rohan Law Extra Sauce guest segment by Mark Ennis of 93.9 The Ville. Doug and his team over at Rohan Law handle all personal injury matters, and they're ready to maximize your recovery with your car wreck case or your slip and fall. Doug and his wife are both former marching chiefs and graduated from FSU's law school. He's a big-time booster, loves FSU football and baseball. Shout out to Section B Animals. And loves giving back to the university by supporting NIL collectives and the boosters. Just like we enjoy talking strategy and reviewing plans for FSU to win on Friday night, Doug and his team will come up with a winning strategy for your case. Call them today at 888-99-NOLES. That's 888-99-NOLES for free to talk about your accident. Even if you don't need them now, give them a follow on YouTube and Twitter. It's at Rohan, ROHAN, Law PC. You can give them a follow, and they will entertain you. teach you about your rights so you know exactly what to do in case of a slip and fall or a car crash. They are your best friends on your worst day. Again, that phone number is, and I'm going to say it because it's the best number I've ever heard, 888-99-NOLES, Noles. Mark, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Appreciate you guys having me. I'm going to tell myself that's Rohan Davey that you're talking about. Do you remember him? Or you young guys remember Rohan Davey? Okay.
A little bit, yeah.
All right.
It's not.
It's funnier to think about that.
It is.
Anyway, go ahead.
Good stuff. My man Ty. Yeah, Harlan, play one more and we'll get into the interview here.
Fire up the war chants and plant the spear. Noles win. Noles win.
We got a new play-by-play guy, and clearly we're very excited about it. Mark,
How's that going? No, I want to hear about this because Gene Deckerhoff. I grew up in Tampa, so he's been the voice of the Bucks too. Like I know what it's like for his voice to be the plays you remember. What's been the reception? I'm kind of curious about you guys.
Well, he got thrown a bone against LSU. TJ, take that away because they set it up for him.
Yeah, you got to call a pretty iconic play to get his welcome. But, yeah, I mean, I think people were not upset, but people were, like, disappointed that Gene was gone. I mean, when he's not with the Bucks next year, I'll be upset about that too. Like, I get to be double upset. So, but, like, Jeff has come in and been really, really good. And so, you know, I think there's, like, two trains of thought when you go with this. Like, UF hired a guy because Mick Hubert – crazy that Mick stepped down too. Yeah. But UF hired a guy that was like kind of an ESPN guy, kind of a, maybe a little more and so like FSU went a different route with it. And I heard some of UF's guy too, and he's really, really good. But I have loved calling him, and I think people have really, really enjoyed it. And what I think they've enjoyed the most is that not only is he calling the games and has some pretty cool calls already thanks to the LSU game, but he's not just doing the voice, right? Like he's not just doing the play-by-play. He's out there at practice every day interviewing guys coming off the field. He does a podcast where he interviews former players, current players, coaches. And so it's really more of like an all-inclusive role as opposed to 5 hours on Saturday. So fans have really enjoyed like not only getting to hear his calls, but also like that inner view of the program that he's providing. So, I've said this a million times. Nobody's ever going to replace Gene.
Right.
But Culhane's been really freaking good.
I'm fascinated by this. I'm a junkie for play-by-play guys, so I'm sorry to like sidetrack you guys for it, but for me, I just think the play-by-play voice in memory of your favorite moments, like they're tied together. Like that's Gene doing a job, but for you, that's your memory of the play happening.
Yes.
Yeah, and those guys are important. And Louisville's Paul Rogers has been doing football and basketball since the late 70s. I mean, it will be a change for people whenever it is that he decides to retire as well. And then all of a sudden your sports memories start changing. And it's just, I guess I'm a romantic about that. That's why I was kind of curious what you guys had to say about that.
No, but I'm exactly like that. Like I remember, so I was a big Kobe guy. And I remember when Kobe dunked the ball in Minnesota and Kevin Harlan said, Kobe Bryant just sucked the gravity right out of the target center. And those calls are tied with your memory of it. Everybody's, he's called so many games now that everybody can remember Mike Breen calling bang for their favorite team to hit a three. And I told Jeff that. And this was the cool realization I had. And we'll say this and then we'll get on with actually talking about football. But all of those memories of me being a kid and remembering Gene's call, like I think about it now. I have a 4-year-old, 2-year-old, and a 4-month-old this week. And so like that's going to be Jeff's going to be the voice they remember. Right. Like in 25 years, like they're going to be like, oh yeah, hopefully good things. When Jeff called that national title or when Jeff called this or when he called that upset at Duke or whatever it was, that's going to be the voice that they remember. And so like to me, it was kind of that cool full circle moment, right? Because like the kids get here and they mean more to you than a football game or whatever. But it was that's kind of what was neat for me. And so I'm excited to continue to hear him call stuff for sure. Okay, let's jump into this. I'll start. I'm out of breath now, just excited about play-by-play guys. But a lot of chatter about Scott Satterfield. He's a game under 500 in his 4 years or 3.5 years that he's been there. What's the fan mood right now? Obviously, week 1 probably didn't help his case at all, but week 2 going on the road and winning a big game at UCF. I know this isn't 2017 national championship level UCF, but what's the fan base's thoughts on Scott? How important is this game and the rest of the season to him?
Yeah, all summer, spring and summer, actually, his kind of approval rating or what have you kind of skyrocketed. Louisville started to put together this extremely good recruiting class, and you started to get a little bit of optimism, coming together about the team as they did pretty well in the portal. You're like, okay, they've addressed a lot of the issues personnel-wise, and to where when the season got here, I mean, I think there was largely like as long as he does enough, everybody wants him to be successful. And then the Syracuse game was just a whiplash. I mean, he's T-boned by the way that game went, especially because they, for all of Louisville's struggles at times, have not struggled with Syracuse. They blew them out easily the last 2 years, and there really wasn't much reason to think that it would just be completely inverted and be as one-sided as it was. But rebounding the way that they did against UCF, where it was the defense standing up for 2/3 of that game, and to have them, I think more than anything else, just still look engaged, bought in. People are pretty encouraged by that. But this Florida State game now is just an enormous kind of inflection point, show me game kind of thing for Scott. He can't afford to lose this one.
Yeah, and Mark, with that, obviously at ACC Media Days, I believe he made some comments about how he wanted to show that Malik Cunningham is a true quarterback, right? Just not just a running guy or anything like that, which he's phenomenal at. So I'm not sure what he was thinking there. But just looking at that, knowing that first game probably hurt him a lot. Does his game plan change? Because it looked like it did a little bit in that second half against UCF, where he said, "Hey, let's let Malik be Malik," right? And it clearly made a difference to the 43-yard touchdown run with his seat getting a little warm after that Syracuse game. Do you think that played a role? And what role will that play this week? Because as a Florida State fan who's watched Malik Cunningham the past few years, I said before you came on, I'm still terrified to death of this man. And I'm even more terrified because I think Satterfield is going to just let him loose Friday night.
I think you're right about that. And I don't know, success level wise how it'll work, but he's pretty explicit this week. Satterfield was that, as far as he was concerned, Malik looking as kind of ineffective as he did in week one was because of them. They said basically, we tried to do the very things, TJ, you were just talking about. We're gonna get him under control in the pocket and that sort of thing. And then basically said, heading into halftime against UCF, yeah, we decided like the things are better when it's a little bit more backyard Malik. And instead of trying to sort of grind through this period where he becomes something better than he is or something other than what he is, just get the most out of what he's good at right now. And they played a little bit more backyard against UCF. And I think what you saw against UCF on both sides of the ball is very, very close to what you'll see against FSU for sure.
Yeah, and that's a little scary, but one thing, obviously, Louisville lost their best receiver to Alabama in the transfer portal. That's something we're all going to get used to when it comes to Bama, Georgia, Ohio State.
And he has as many catches as the three of us so far.
Yeah,
as the queen. I mean, you name it.
But looking at Louisville's production so far, it's really been on the ground. Cunningham, I believe another transfer, Taiwan Evans, 88% of the team's rush yards through 2 games. And then Tyler Hudson is the only receiver in double digits with receptions and triple digits with yards. Granted, you got another guy with 99 yards. But those 3 guys that seem so far to make this offense go. Who else should we be looking out for? Obviously, I know the backfield's been banged up a little bit. Are you getting anybody back that can help bolster that rushing attack to where it's not so reliant on Malik and Evans?
I think you're going to see the majority of the carries still be with them. And if I had to, think about kind of a distribution, Scott does like to keep them fresh and sort of have a rotation, almost like an NFL style, but it's not like 33, 33, 30. So I think Evans will get 2/3 of the carries, and then they'll split that other third between Jahar Jordan and Travion Cooley this week. Jalen Mitchell, I think, is not going to play at all in this one. And we haven't seen Cooley all year. So there's kind of a new face, and he was a little bit more of the kind of breakaway guy a year ago. But hasn't really played at all. So if he's a factor, that's Evans can go. Like Evans is a home run guy. He had a 37-yard touchdown against Syracuse in week 1. Like he's that guy. And I think that they're really going to start building the offense around the fact that he and Malik are such dangerous running threats together. Maybe read guys a little bit more than blocking them as much as they tried in the first week, and go from there. As far as receiver, I think it's the least developed place on the offense. I think the offensive line, I think they've sort of figured out what they feel comfortable with. Quarterback, running back, they're good. But wide receiver, there's no deep threat like Tyler Harrell or Tutu Atwell before that, like there has been Scott's first 3 years here. And that is a hindrance. I don't know who it necessarily would be. But in the slot, Braden Smith is coming off an ACL injury last year, and Amari Huggins, Bruce have been good and are emerging more. And Louisville, I think, has done a good job getting tight end Marshawn Ford more involved, and he doesn't have like enormous yardage, but is reliable as a pass catcher and is good in short yardage down distance like Malik looks for him now. So they've got weapons, but there certainly has not been anybody that sort of takes the top off like they've had in the past that's emerged, at least not yet.
Oh, I'm on mute. A transfer at Louisville came from FSU. We've got a few of your guys as well. But this is the battle of who swapped most guys.
Straight up one trade. Right.
Jarvis is a guy that made some mistakes at FSU, cost FSU in a big way here or there, but had a pretty good game against UCF. Made some big plays. I know he's amped for this. We've talked with Jordan and Richie said this before you got on, but we talked with Devin Travis. I don't know if you remember him playing baseball.
Yep.
But talking with Devin, and he was there in New Orleans with us, and he said that Jordan's not – I mean, it's been so long, right, since Jordan was there that I don't know if it's the same thing as Jarvis leaving after last year.
Yeah, and none of the coaches are even here anymore.
Right, so it's different. But this game means a lot to Jarvis. And so, what are your expectations for him and that secondary in general against probably the best Florida State wide receiver group that we've had in 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, they love him. The coaches here love Jarvis, and they really feel good about Keitrell Clark. And then now when they talk, they say they feel really good about Keitrell Clark and Jarvis Brownlee. Like, it's both. They really do feel like they've got two legitimate corners, and they don't really have a huge drop off between the other. They haven't let him talk this week for us to hear anything about what he might think about the FSU game, and that's probably smart. On his part. But I think the whole secondary walked away from the UCF game really feeling a lot more confident because at 14-7 in that game, UCF scores. They basically made the decision: we're blitzing 5, we're blitzing 6 every play for the rest of the game, and saying, "Hey, secondary, do your thing," and we need it. And it worked. UCF 2.9 yards per play in the second half of that game. I mean, they shut them down and forced Plumlee to throw, and he can't. Not like they needed him to. Now, I think Jordan's a better passer than John Rice Plumlee, and will be. And Florida State's receivers, I think, are at least as good as UCF's, who are pretty good. You just couldn't give them the ball. So I think you'll see a game plan that's similar, but I don't think they can be as utterly, utter abandon with blitzes like they were against UCF. There's no fear of UCF throwing last week. There's a healthy amount of fear, but I still think it's probably the best way for Louisville to go about trying to stop FSU.
I thought that UCF, especially early in the game, and then as it got later, I don't know if I was paying as much attention, so I'll lean on your expertise here. But I thought that UCF did pretty well in the trenches against Louisville. I thought that there were times that UCF was really able to kind of get after it. Florida State looked good in the trenches against an SEC opponent a couple of weeks ago. Is that a concern for Louisville? Is that somewhere that Louisville thinks that they can maybe bow up a little bit? Or just what are your thoughts on both sides of the line?
Yeah, I think that for Louisville's offensive line, I think that will be an interesting matchup because, with the base stretch runs as like what they do, FSU being as big as they are, what you're really looking for is to get a defense kind of flowing one way or the other. And so I don't know about that matchup. We'll see. They've held their own, I think, last year and the year before, but not so great the year before that. So Scott's sort of 50-50 there. But I'm deeply concerned about Louisville's defensive line and the front seven really holding up against the run. I don't think they can afford to do anything other than tons of run blitzes. Louisville's defensive line is up to this point is a real non-factor. Now you had a little bit of disruption and tackles for losses, that sort of thing from defensive line once they really just set everybody loose. But on their own, it's not a great front seven, and it's not a disruptive front seven. And I would be shocked if Florida State got away from running the ball as quickly as UCF did.
So, Mark, personally, I have no idea what to expect from these teams. It's so early in the season.
Well, let me back up. Let me back up. When we had Mark on last year, I don't know if you remember this, Mark. We asked Mark, "Hey, what should we expect?" And Mark said, "I have no clue. I have no clue what." And so, here we are a year later, and I feel like it's going to be the same answer. But go ahead, Rich.
It's game 3 though, so it's difficult. Yeah. But I have an idea. We're going to give our predictions later. Once you hop off, Mark, just to avoid the controversy here and all that stuff. But best
what
case,
do I think is going to happen?
Yeah, what do you think is going to happen in this game? And I don't know if you have a score prediction yet. You probably want to save that for your show. But if you do have one, please share it with us. We'd love to break that. We're giving ours later tonight. But yeah, I don't know. I expect an extremely raucous environment at Cardinal Stadium. I really do. season opener, home opener, ACC and home opener. Friday night, liquored up. I think it's going to be a very crazy environment, and Florida State has not played that. I'm sorry, it was 50-50 sincerely at the Superdome
I
in
wondered
New Orleans
about that
in 2 weeks ago. And quite frankly, the noise level of TJ and I were both there. It felt like Florida State had a 60-40 edge, but it was 50-50. But my goodness, going into Louisville, we're going to have maybe 6,000 fans, 7,000 at most. It's going to be a true road environment, and I do think it'll be tough. So what do you think happens with or without a score prediction?
Yeah, I think it will be. What is Florida State? 1.5, 2-point favorite? For the, I mean,
2.5 currently, yeah. So
I mean,
who knows what it'll settle at?
Yeah, I would stay away from it if I was giving gambling advice. I mean, I really don't.
Yeah.
It's easy for me to foresee so many different outcomes that UCF is actually really, really bad, and that Florida State's just a lot better at taking advantage of what Louisville tried to do, or that LSU is actually bad and Florida State isn't that great either. I mean, I don't. It's hard, it's really, really difficult to say and feel a ton of confidence about almost any element of, because it's so young in the year and the performances were so different. It's really hard to look at it and be like, I don't know which one of these guys is the real one. If I had to guess, I think the game will be a lot like the UCF game, only I don't think FSU will be as inept or kind of stubborn as I think UCF was. But then Louisville, well, if Louisville's better in the red zone, that may have been a little bit more of a lopsided game than it ended up being. So I think it'll be a coin flip, and there's no outcome in this game other than straight blowout. Either one. I just can't see that.
So I like the under. That's the only thing I like. That's the only thing I like right now.
If I was going to bet on it, what is it, 50, 50 and a half?
57.
57,
Right?
way under. Way under.
Yeah. I was prepared to bet under.
Yeah, because I kind of like something. We'll project it here in a little bit, but like I kind of like a one. I mean, this is not my official, right? But like
the 2019 game.
Yeah, 27-21, 27-20.
Absolutely.
Maybe whoever wins that, maybe it ends up being like 31-21 because you get a score late, but that's still well under that 57. Yeah. So I don't know.
I'd be surprised with a shootout. That's the only thing I'm confident in. That said, watch me 45-42.
Yeah.
Well, you don't get a lot of run-based shootouts.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what these two teams are. And there's no deep threat for either one of them, really. Yeah. So I would be shocked. I appreciate it, though.
So most important, I'm coming up. I'm leaving at 6 a.m. tomorrow, right. So need to wrap up and get out of here. But we've got a couple things planned. We're going by Peerless. We're going by Michter's. We've gotten some restaurant recommendations, some barbecue stuff, some non-barbecue. What is your, like, when you tell a local, and nothing like greasy chicken tenders, because that's our thing.
Right.
What is your, like, okay, hidden gem, can't miss, go hit this when you're in town?
I mean, if you can get in Hammerheads and get just get any burger there, really, it's just out of this world good, and it is a gem that not very many people know about. And I would implore you, while you're here, get in there, just get yourself hamburger and French fries. It's out of this world.
Yeah. So when you go to their website here, I want to pull this up really quickly, just so that people we've got a pretty good number in here watching. So we'll pull this up. When you go to their website, this is what you're greeted with on the main page. Look at this. Like, that's like literally just their main page. And I'm just like, he's talking about the burger. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's no way I'm not getting those two to go with this burger that I'm about to try.
You can't go wrong there, man. You really can.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Are you what's your I mean, I know you're probably working the game, but like what's your go-to bourbon? I'm coming up with Sonone. I don't know if you know Brendan Sonone of Noles 247.
Yes.
We're coming up and we do a bourbon pod together. So what's your go-to bourbon? I think I've sent Four Roses in the past. But
you did. I would say if I had a go-to right now, 1792. Become a really big fan of that. Girlfriend is a huge fan of that. So we've become aligned in that regard. So that's where I'm at these days. For my standard, that's the one I really like.
Are you a beer guy at all? Do you stick to
I
bourbon?
am not. Now the AM co-host or the AM host on our sister station here, huge beer, like whatever the level above beer snob is, like beer doctor. You know what I mean? Yeah. A beer czar. He's that. And that's I just whatever's in front of me, I don't taste very big differences in front of it. It's fun. No undiscriminating beer taste for me at all.
I'm hearing bacon. I was going to send you some beer, but it sounds like it would be wasted.
It would.
So we'll just do the bourbon again. So
sounds
Mark, tell people where they can find your work, where they can find you, where they can listen to you. we'll get you out of here, man. Thank you so much for your time.
93.9 The Ville. We're on Monday through Friday, 3 to 6. On post game coverage with the broadcast through Learfield and then on the radio station after football as well. And if you guys are going to be out there, we'll be at Cardinal Stadium broadcasting right from where the card march where the team comes in and all of that there. So stop by, say hello.
Yeah, come find you. And I'm excited too because like after the game, how bad is the traffic leaving? I mean, you left Doak for a game before. Is the traffic pretty bad leaving, or can you get out pretty easy?
It has gotten a lot better. It's not near the nightmare it used to be. So you'll be all right. You'll be fine.
So, but I was going to say, if the traffic's really bad, then I'll just get to listen to you for longer on the post game afterwards. So we'll see. Mark Ennis, thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate you.
Sure,
thanks, Mark.
Yep.
Mark Ennis of 93.9 The Ville. The big rock station here, rap station, whatever. The big like hit station is 99.3. Or 93.3 here in Tampa. So I knew I was going to mess that up, but I didn't. Shout out to him for not messing up. Nobody super chatted while Mark was on. Nobody had anything to ask the Louisville guy. Richie and I are going to play, and we bring Harlan in. Harlan, I could barely hear you earlier, so you got to lean into your mic or something here. We're going to bring Harlan in, and we're going to play our pick'em. Again, that was Mark Ennis on the Rohan Law Extra Sauce guest segment. We've told you guys about this every week, and hopefully you've taken advantage of it. But we introduce you to Doug Rohan and our sponsor, Rohan Law, as a way to give back to our listeners and our viewers. They are giving away 2 Champions Club tickets and a parking pass for the Clemson game.
Which game? Which game?
The Clemson game,
yes.
The biggest game on the schedule. 2 tickets to the Clemson game, Champions Club, not just sitting up way up high in 80th row, Champions Club tickets. If you want to win, text Noles, Noles, to 850-809-1906. Again, text the word Noles to 850-809-1906. I'll put it right here, and I'll even put it up on the screen for just a minute so that you guys know that. Noles, Noles, to 850-809-1906 for a chance to win 2 Clemson tickets, a parking pass, sit in that Champions Club with all that booze that you guys love. And if you take your kid, they'll just eat popcorn and ice cream the whole time, go home with an upset stomach. It'll be great. Not speaking from experience, but I've literally sat in those seats and done that with my child. So Rohan Law, Extra Sauce segment. Appreciate Mark and our partners over at Rohan Law. Last one, and we'll get out of here. This is our Made Equal Pick 6. They've got some exciting stuff in the works. Made Equal Clothing. Want to give them a shout out and say hello to them. Appreciate their support. We've got some exciting stuff coming from them in the next week. Just know right now that they are Nole founded. They support our student athletes and they give back to our underprivileged communities in ways that you guys can't even imagine. Love working with Made Equal Clothing. Do me a favor. We've got some big news coming from them soon. But right now, go ahead and follow them on social media. I will put a link both in the description and here on the chat. You can go ahead and follow them on Twitter. It's Made Equal CO, Made Equal Clothing. Appreciate them. Richie, it's time for our pick 6. Let's get Harlan in here so we can kick his butt. Am I still winning? Let's recap last week.
Harlan, do you have the bets for last week or the picks for last week?
Got it right here, bro. Right here.
Let's go.
I gotta get Harlan.
It was not a good week for me, I don't believe.
All right, let me scroll up here. So the current score is TJ at 8, Richie at 7, me at 7. I was actually down really bad, so I had a really good week. I just want to say that right now.
I had a bad week, yeah.
Harlan, I can't hear you very well. I don't know if that's your mic or just the fact that you're in second place, but
okay.
All right, what do we got this week, Richie?
All right, so we're going to start it off with Jordan Travis pass yards. We'll go to the super producer first. I'll go to TJ next, and I'll finish it up. 225.5 pass yards. I think that's a great number, by the way, set for us. Harlan, what do you think, man?
Whoa, TJ's doing some crazy stuff. All right, I've got my score prediction as a blowout, so you're going to see a lot of overs from me. I'm going over 225.5.
Over
TJ.
me as well.
I'll take under. I think we're run heavy. I think Jordan Travis has a good day on the ground. We'll see. Malik Cunningham, 205.5 pass yards. I guess we'll go in reverse. I'll start this one. I'll go over. I think that's too low. I think Florida State comes out too early lead. Louisville plays from behind. They're forced to throw more than they want to. So I'll go over the 205.5. What about you, TJ?
Man, I really want to go under here, but you just convinced me. Shout out my guys that made it equal. Just give us a little bit of love in the comments. Guys, give them a follow here.
I need those joggers that they have coming out.
Dude, they're fire. So go give them a follow. Hey, I'm going to leave their comment up here. Sorry, Harlan, that's cutting you off a little bit. But I'm going to leave their comment up here. They got a big launch coming on 9/23. Oh, you put me on the bottom. Very good. They got a big launch coming on 9/23. Y'all give them a follow here on YouTube. They support Noles. They give back to, like I said, underprivileged communities. Very, very, very happy to work with them. One of the most proud I've ever been to work with a sponsor. So, over me as well, Richie. Sorry, that's a long way to say over.
Yeah, I hate to be the same as y'all, but I see Louisville down big and throwing a lot, so I'm gonna go over.
All right, Trayshawn Ward, 60.5 rushing yards. I'm going to start just because I think this is not an easy over, because I actually think Trey Benson's going to take the bulk of the carries this week. But I do think this could be like a 250-yard rushing week. I'm going to take the over on Trayshawn, 60.5. We'll go Harlan, then TJ.
Over for sure. I went under on him against LSU. I'm going over against this rushing defense from Louisville.
When I was on the Rising Spear podcast and asked Trayshawn Ward, and again, we'll submit you guys' picks if you super chat them, so you can just super chat them as an A, or if you're a sponsor, we'll just put them up for free. So shout out to Made Equal again. Trayshawn Ward is the funniest person on the team. I asked him and Trey Benson and Lawrence Toffili, and he said, like, no, it's me. I'm the funny. So I will never take an under for him in my entire life, over on Trayshawn Ward.
All right, we'll go to the next one. Exact same line. So I get these numbers. I don't make them up. We get them from an official sports book. Not going to mention them. But Malik Cunningham, again, rushing this time. Same line, 60.5. TJ Harlan, where are you guys at?
Under.
Sacks count. So sacks count for rushing or passing in college?
Rushing, yeah.
Yeah, under.
Jimbo hated that.
I think if you take away his sack yardage, he'd go over. But we're going to get to him quite a few times. So
I thought I was going to be the only one to go under there. I'm disappointed.
Yeah. I'm going over. I see him breaking a big one. If Florida State does have a lead late, we saw what Jaden Daniels did those last 3 drives in the fourth quarter against LSU. I'm going to take the over. From there, we go to Micah Pittman, 3.5 receptions. That's a really good line, because at first I'm like, this is an easy over. I'm going to take the slight over just because I do think we get involved a little bit with more of the short pass, because Louisville does blitz a lot of run blitzes. We just talked to Mark Ennis. They blitzed every play in the second half. So Pittman's the guy in the slot that gets those quick catches. I'll take the over. Give me 4 catches for Micah Pittman. How about you, TJ?
Yeah, he's got 7 on the year, so 3.5 is a pretty good line that they're setting there.
That's a lazy line, if you want to be honest.
Sure is. Good Lord. Give me the over. I think we are going to throw quite a bit here. So I'll take it over on. Yeah. I've taken over on everything else. So what's the difference now, right? Just screw it. Oh, well, I don't even care what the rest of your questions are. Just over.
Yeah, I think we're going to be running so much with read option. I think our throws are going to be down the field. So I'm going to go under here. Mike is more of a, other than the goal line fade, I think we're going to be throwing it down the field, which would be more beneficial to some other wide receivers.
So our final one, and I think this is actually a really good one, because Adam Fuller, so I did make this one up myself. Like, he knows this man inside out. He's had talks with Alex Adkins and Mike Norvell, but Jarvis Brownlee, 5.5 times targeted. So not receptions given up or anything like that, but will Florida State target Brownlee more than 5.5 times? Keep in mind, he is not listed as a starter. He is second string, but he will play a good bit.
Yeah, they're targeting him every play he's out there, man. Over me. I don't mean to be petty, but here we go. Over.
All right. Harlan, what do you think, man?
I'm going to go over. I'll be honest, I didn't put it in the sheet, but I'll go over.
I got to go over just because, man, the staff knows him so well. Unless Louisville's giving him extra help over the top that we're not expecting, I think they go over as well. But from there, Harlan, give us your score prediction, and then TJ and I will do it, and we will get out of here for the night.
Yeah, so I'm going, unlike last time, I'm going with my same pick as the website, and I think it's a blowout, and I think it's over. I think both y'all are wrong. I think our guest was wrong. I'm going 42-24 Florida State.
Woof. Take my seat if you're right, Harlan. Take my seat.
Can we get him a new mic if that's the case? I'm bringing him a mic.
He can have my Yeti Blue here.
Yeah, very good. Richie, you go next. I'll finish this up.
All right. So I've seen a lot of confidence from the Florida State fan base heading into this game this week, especially, right? We're feeling good. Louisville's not looked great. For some reason, I just am struggling to get a lot of confidence. You got to think when they joined the ACC in 2014, right? You needed a heroic performance from Jameis and Dalvin to win that game. We all know 2016, the Louisville Lamar Jackson disaster. 2018, we won the game. That was horrible coaching. The coach got fired probably because of that game. 2020, COVID, don't care, whatever. It's not been kind to us. It's almost Raleigh, North Carolina West at this point. But I just think we're better in both trenches, and I think that's the difference, right? I think Louisville will play their best game of the year. I think the offense looks good. I think Malik Cunningham has some really good moments, but I do think Florida State does just enough. I think we're going to be run heavy, so I'm not going to predict us to score a ton of points because I think we're going to limit possessions. But I do think Florida State comes out and wins this game something like 27-23. I don't have a lot of faith in either kickers, but I think Adam Fuller has learned his lesson to some extent. And again, the biggest thing for me, Malik Cunningham doesn't have a Tutu Atwell, doesn't have the weapons he's had in the past. So I'm picking Florida State 27, Louisville 23, but it might be tight at the end when a lot of fans maybe don't think so right now, like Carlin, but I'm expecting this game to come down to the final, 3 to 5 minutes. Go ahead, TJ.
Yeah, if you guys have any super chats before we go, shoot us a message. We're happy to kind of get those up on air, but we are wrapping up. We are winding down here. If you are watching, if you're enjoying this or watching it on the replay, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button under Richie's, what is that, Richie, your left arm over there? Yeah, that's right.
Whichever one.
Yeah, one of your arms.
Oh, you're going to throw me into Aslan with a meme here.
Oh boy, now we're gonna get an email. Yeah, but underneath the Double Fries No Slaw logo, hit that subscribe button. We put out a really good video this morning that had some really, really, really good recruiting insight from Zach Blostein of Noles 247. Go check that out if you're watching, if you're listening. Once we wrap up, some good news coming, I believe, on Hakeem Williams, 5-star wide receiver, and 4-star linebacker, Blake Nicholson. So go check that out after we wrap up here in just a moment. If you have any last-minute questions, get them in via Super Chat. We will answer them. To answer your question, Richie, man, I think this is a game that the Noles dominate and never really are challenged. I could see it being a one-score game at half, and I think the Noles pull away late. Give me 31-21 FSU. I think we do a really, really good job. And that 21, by the way, is because of a 2-point conversion by Louisville. I think we force them to 2 field goals. I don't think they're scoring 3 touchdowns on us. We'll see. 31-21. The Noles have a good lead late. 28-21. Kick a field goal late to put it out of reach. And give me an Akeem Dent interception on Louisville's final drive to wrap that thing up.
Give me that, but Greedy Vance.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take Van. Bro, whatever it takes, man. I like or Jared Jackson's strip sack, right?
Let's go.
Anything that's like a former Louisville guy. So, man, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Give me the Noles in a win here. Give me 3-0.
And all white lid going in. Garnet gold. Got mine in today. Got mine in today. You notice I went the white lid, white jersey, right?
I like it.
This was intentional.
I double fries thing, but I got a white beard, so that counts. Again, shout out Bay Cannon Beer Co. I put the link in here from Bavana. You can go and shop for this Bay Cannon beer right. Oh, verse 2 sacks. I like that. Verse 3.5 sacks. Good Lord. I put a link up for Bay Cannon Beer Co. for Bavana. I'm telling you guys, their beer is fantastic. I've had 2 or 3 while we've been sitting here. Richie's drinking it right now. Really, really good stuff. It's also like, just go grab a beer, man. It's pretty simple there. You can buy 1 beer for $5 or a 4-pack for $18. You're going to buy beer anyway to watch the game. Go get it from people that support FSU. Again, Matt, that we had on early in the show, walked on at FSU, played wide receiver for the Noles. We like to give back to FSU folks, and so that's what we do. Made Equal Clothing. Stay tuned for their launch coming up in a couple of weeks. And Rohan Law on our Extra Sauce segment. Make sure you register for those Clemson tickets because those are going to be dope. I'm kind of jealous that they're not giving them to me, but some lucky fan gets to enjoy the Clemson game, the Clemson real quick, win TJ. From the Champions Club. Yo, your mic came out. You're driving me nuts.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just not very good. But I can hear you. Go ahead.
All right, so I was going to say real quick, those Clemson tickets, by the way,
like Champions Club for that game when we are 6-0 at this point. Those are like $1,000 a pair. Like, guys, text Noles the phone number because there's a chance you will not get in the stadium. The up nosebleeds will be more expensive than what you're doing right now. Definitely take advantage because my goodness, those are good seats. Like TJ said, I wish I could have them. I'll actually be in Louisville, ironically, for a bachelor party that weekend.
I'm a little pissed that I'm not getting those, but Rohan Law, your best friend on your worst day. Text the word Noles 850-809-1906. 850-809-1906. The number is there on the bottom of the screen. Hey, man, Richie, I enjoy this show, man. I don't tell you guys enough. Richie, Harlan, Brian, Mike, Sean, Ed, the folks that help out with Double Fries and Slaw. I really do appreciate you guys. I thought tonight was a fantastic show, a lot of fun, and we will have a lot of fun, I think, on Friday night after this win when we do an instant reaction. So let's all join back here on Friday night. Let's hang out again. Richie, you got any shout outs before we get out of here?
No shout outs to all the listeners. We had a very active chat tonight. I appreciate it. I don't know if it's the fact that we're 2-0 or if our fan base is just growing. Either way, I love it. I hope we get to 3-0 and we can TJ hop on Spaces on Friday night. And then again, we got to figure out Saturday, Sunday, because I got some stuff going on, but we'll definitely have a recap show after Florida State goes to 3-0. And we are hosting Boston College to go to 4-0 next week. Let's go, Noles.
Shout out to FSU, man. Let's go get another win this weekend. Let's get after it on this preview show. We will see you guys win, loss, or draw on Friday night after the game. But yeah, you're right, Brian Justice. Friday night Spaces will be. Friday night Spaces are going to be lit. We'll be here on YouTube as well. We'll stream it to YouTube as well. We'll talk to you guys.
Can I turn my camera off for that?
No, you got to be hammered on camera.
All
right. If I got to be hammered in Louisville, you got to be hammered in Orlando. We'll talk to you guys on Friday night. Go Noles.